One of our viewers called to tell us that she believes her home and family are haunted and has asked Sightings to conduct a ghost investigation. Well, we thought this would be a good opportunity to show you step by step how a real ghost investigation is conducted. I went to her home in Garden Grove, California to begin the investigation process.
My little girl's hysterical and I can't do anything. I feel so weak, so helpless, and I don't know what to do.
Soon after Anita Mock and her family moved into this Garden Grove, California home, the haunting phenomena began. At first, the family claimed the ghostly activity was benign. Objects would appear and disappear without warning. But in the past few weeks, the haunting has taken a frightening turn.
When I saw that night, I dropped the dishes that I was holding and I grabbed my little sister and I ran outside and I just went hysterical.
I turned around, looked at her, and I just got up and started running.
We both jumped because we're ready for anything at that moment. We're just so scared.
The family has seen a spectral figure dressed in white moving through the house. Doors slam for no reason, lights go on and off, and as Anita told me, something is now physically harming her children.
3-year-old sleeps
Right here. And I came in and I asked her, what's wrong? She just sat up and she was just shaking. And she just started crying, and I just kept telling her, what's wrong? Did you have a bad dream? So, no. Bad man walked from hall, came in here, and gave me an ouchie, you know.
What did she mean gave her an ouchie?
That meant to her that he hurt her.
No physical effects could be seen after the daughter's frightening experience, but psychologically, the haunting has certainly affected everyone.
Tell us what happened on that night when you saw something in the kitchen.
It looked like something was staring at me, and all I noticed...
What did you see?
I noticed something was wearing white, and it was peeking around the door, and it had like its hands on the door.
She grabbed my daughter because she was afraid to look up at her.
Right.
She was afraid, because it looked solid. She was afraid it was going to come out and get her.
And I ran out. I went out in the backyard, and Anita was out there, and I started crying, and I couldn't stop crying.
In desperation, the family asked a Catholic priest to bless the home in hopes that it would drive away the entity.
But it's still here, and I don't know what to do. I mean, what do you do in a situation like this when a little girl is scared to death and you can't comfort her? I don't know what to do.
We've asked Loyd Auerbach, the director of the OPI, the Office of Paranormal Investigations, to conduct this ghost investigation for us. Loyd Auerbach, welcome to Sightings.
Thank you, Tim. It's good to be here.
Typically, what would be your first step in an investigation?
The first step in any investigation is always going to be witness interviews, and we'll try to do other things such as go through the house, which is very typical, with a map, a floor plan of the house, and try to pin down where things have gone on within the house, usually with a couple of the witnesses. And we also walk through with our tri-field meters, which measure magnetic fields, among other things, to try to determine if there's any sort of correlation.
Do you have any hunches, Loyd, about what might be causing a haunting phenomenon in this case, if there is one?
My hunch is this is probably a poltergeist case where we might have some things being moved around by someone or the whole family using mind over matter ability, and there might be an overtone of an apparition. That has happened in a number of cases where literally some suggestion that there might be a ghost there has caused people to see it.
Loyd, what is it that interests you about this particular case?
Probably the most interesting thing about this case is that it is a mixed bag, that we have physical object movement plus we have an apparition being sighted. With very rare exceptions, most of the apparition cases where people see a ghost or hear voices that seem to be fairly intelligent, that we call apparitions or ghosts, those cases don't also involve physical object movement. So this is kind of interesting from the point that it might be both. It could be an apparition moving things around, it could be a poltergeist, or it could be a lot of things that are misinterpreted by the family, and there could be nothing paranormal going on.
Loyd, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Tim.
In the coming weeks, we'll bring you updates on Loyd's progress as he conducts this ghost investigation. Recent episode of Sightings, we introduced you to the Mock family, who had contacted us about a ghost haunting their home in Garden Grove, California. We asked professional ghost hunter Loyd Auerbach to conduct an investigation for us. And tonight, we follow Loyd into the Mock home to watch the process step by step. In this quiet, comfortable suburb of Los Angeles, Anita Mock, her daughter, and her cousin have all reported encounters with two distinct entities in their home. One, a ghostly apparition dressed in white with beady, glowing eyes. The other, a mischievous poltergeist in the back bedroom.
My little girl's hysterical, and I can't do anything. I feel so weak, so helpless, and I don't know what to do.
After my initial visit, Loyd Auerbach brought his team into the mock home. While he took magnetic field readings, therapist Karen Husing tested the family.
We literally have things happening that don't always mesh together. Normally, when you see an apparition in a case, you don't normally also have physical object movements. So this is kind of a mixed bag case that we'll have to take a little closer look at through a process of interviewing and checking out the house itself. And where was it when you heard the sound? Was it flipped over like that?
It was flipped like this.
Okay, so it really wasn't easy to get at anyway.
No.
I'm getting an anomaly, and we are correlating these anomalies to the spots that people are sensing or seeing apparitional or haunting phenomena, hearing things.
What could the family be experiencing? We found that the house did have a history of domestic violence and untimely death prior to the time the Mocks moved in. Before turning their case over to Sightings, Anita had asked a priest to bless the home, but the entity remained.
He blessed the house. He went around here really quick, and when he was done, all he told me was that I need to go back to church.
In addition to Auerbach's team, we asked psychic Sylvia Brown to record her impressions in the house. Sylvia had strong, unsettling feelings.
Yeah, see, this room also has, Anita, some activity. When I first came into the house, I felt this tremendous amount of violence, physical violence, glass cracking, noise. Then there's a murder, a killing, blood, somebody's face slashed. We have a case here of layer upon layer of poltergeist, haunting. I'm not sure I would want to stay here.
But there are people living here, and they don't want to be forced out. In addition to the poltergeist activity, they're still plagued by encounters with the apparition in white.
It was wearing white, and it was peeking around the door, and it had like its hands on the door.
She grabbed my daughter because she was afraid to look up at her.
Right.
She was afraid, because it looked solid. She was afraid it was going to come out and get her.
And this is the very spot where Heather said she saw the ghost.
So normally, what this house is reading is 1 milligauss, normally. But this is going up as high as 2.5 milligauss and 3, and that's, double or almost triple what you're experiencing in the rest of the house.
Loyd's magnetometer measures the level of electromagnetic energy in milligauss. Do the unusually high magnetometer readings he's getting here explain why apparitions, poltergeists, slamming doors, and spinning clocks have all been reported in the house? Or does an answer lie in the minds of the family? In a state of deep relaxation, Heather Waieda recalls the apparition under hypnosis.
This entity that you have seen in the house would like to invite him to join you so that we can communicate.
I think he's here.
Is there something that he wishes to communicate?
That he's not trying to hurt me or my family.
Does he know how he died?
He said he doesn't like to talk about it.
Is there anything else that he did that he could tell us about?
He said he's sorry for hurting Amanda when he tried to pick her up.
We just had a hypnosis session. I thought to come in here and check the reading which we were getting. And most of the house reads between 1 and 1.5 milligauss, which is what we're now reading here in this spot. I mean, before the hypnosis session, I was reading between 2 and 2.5. It may be a coincidence, but actually it's very interesting to me that we have resolved the situation. The ghost is supposedly going away, and there's no longer a high reading.
Since our first report on the Garden Grove haunting, another viewer called the Sightings hotline with an important new lead. He told us that in 1987, his mother, Winnie Rawls, died traumatically in this house.
When I walked in here by myself before we began this filming, and I was able to talk out loud to her, I felt a distinct presence. I don't feel that anymore. It's different now. Something is different. I think that she might be free. I think that she needed to be told by me, and my great fear coming to do this at all was that my mother somehow was trapped and couldn't get away and was unhappy. And I thought, well, if I come and see and can talk to her privately, which I was able to do, maybe she would let go.
Phil Rawls believed that the spirit of his mother was looking for a way out of this house. But the Mocks believe they're being pursued by a male entity. Could these be the two distinct entities felt in the house?
Definitely, there is a female spirit in, what should I say, residence here. Yes. Now, there might be a man that might be sighted, but it's definitely a female personality.
I feel great for calling you guys because I didn't know who to call. I was really scared. I had no idea what was going on, and it just feels like home again.
If you've experienced what you believe to be a ghost, or if you've had any type of paranormal encounter, our Sightings investigative team wants to know about it.